It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that'll talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look...
Now I am going to talk to you in an AI voice so you can observe with your ears. Lord Vetus in phases 1 to 3 uses predetermined combo strings similar to Carnelio and Radiance. The attacks in these combo strings in phase 1 are all of different levels of threats. The attacks include 1. Great Fisher, 2. Strike Through, 3. Gallant Gambit, 4. Bleak Bullets, 5. Hadron Collision, and 6. Projectura. For Great Fisher, Lord Vetus raises his hand preemptively, creating a V-shaped rupture of crystals forward. These crystals inflicts slowed while stunning and damaging the player. Vetus then leaps forward at the player, dealing 750 damage in an AoE before backflipping backwards a further distance. To dodge this attack, the player should walk backwards a slight distance, as Vetus will signal the attack by infusing his hands with blue energy. As the crystals rupture, the player should observe where Vetus will strike. It is where he is looking, before jumping and dashing twice over the crystals after a small delay. Vetus will then backflip towards a spot, giving you enough time to damage him. For strike through, Vetus telegraphs a crosshair towards the direction he is aiming. Then, a projectile is fired at instantaneous speeds, inflicting slowed and dealing massive knockback. Once the projectile hits a wall, it will then break and erupt crystals at an angle spread between one another. To dodge this attack, the player should be circling around Vetus while he does this attack, and they should be good. However, in phase 3 and onward, this attack predicts, requiring the player to bait. For Gallant Gambit, Lord Vetus emits 6 shockwaves that travel inwards, dealing 75 damage. After that, Lord Vetus reels back his sword before lunging forward a massive distance in a blue spiral. As each phase goes on, these shockwaves become larger and faster. To dodge this attack, the player can either get out of range and dodge the lunge, or go in range and repeatedly jump over the shockwaves traveling inward. This attack should be dodged with the latter, as it allows you to attack Vetus while he is the most vulnerable. In phase 3 onwards, the lunge at the end will predict, requiring stricter timing with the dash. For Bleak Bullets, Vetus fires 5 pathetic black orbs. These attacks become much more threatening in phase 3 onwards. To dodge these, walk around Vetus in the circle. For Hadron Collision, Vetus summons a blue orb in his hand before predicting and firing it at the player, exploding on impact in a massive radius. Note that this attack has a fall-off in damage based on time passed, from 4960 damage to 100. A dash towards Vetus right before he launches the orb is sufficient enough to dodge the attack. Lastly, for Phase 1, Projectura summons a Vetal Projectura. It has 25,000 Dao HP in solo and wields both a bow and an arrow. For Projectura, keep it in its bow state, or try to kill it quickly. A melee Projectura is very threatening and should be dealt with ASAP. Lord Vetus in Phases 1 to 3 decides his follow-up attack based on distance. A nearby player will result in Lord Vetus choosing between a near or far attack, whereas a far player will always guarantee an unlimited follow-up. In Phase 2, Vetus heals back 4.1 million health. Lord Vetus now has 4 modes of attacks, each mode comprising of a group of available attacks using the same type of combos from Phase 1. Depending on the mode of attack, the follow-up behavior for each attack changes. Mode of attack changes when Lord Vetus uses either Skyward Force or Weapon Swap. He also gains a variety of attacks, those being Plasma Sentry, Gaia Shock, Dark Eagle, and Prism Cannon. He also has access to Weapon Swap, Skyward Force, and Dive, which change his modes of attack to Gun, Flying, and Grounded. For Plasma Sentry, Vetus summons a sentry that fires a giant blue orb towards the player that explodes and deals 120 damage. These sentries despawn after 25 seconds. Staying under the Plasma Sentry will guarantee your safety. However, it is best to try and move away from the sentry as quick as possible. Killing the sentry with a ranged attack, if you have any, is also feasible as it only has 25,000 health. Gaia Shock is an attack where a rune is detonated under every player, dealing constant damage. In Phase 3 and onwards, this attack is bigger and steals energy. To dodge this attack in Phase 2, 1 dash will suffice. In Phase 3 onwards, 2 is necessary to dodge the attack. For Dark Eagle, Lord Vetus telegraphs a winged symbol and summons a Dark Eagle that then swoops down to attack and back up. Trying your best to get away from the eagle with any means necessary is sufficient to dodge the attack. For Vetus Prism Cannon, he fires a bullet that is telegraphed by numbered spots, which the bullet will ricochet from in order. These spots will predict every player movement. To dodge the attack, dash or jump right before the bullet is fired to throw off the prediction. Remember, you can still die to the bullet trail, so walking away from the general area is advised. When Vetus uses Skyward Force, the ability that makes him fly, it's good to practice trying not to waste too much energy, as for the later phases you will need energy to survive the attacks. Also, remember to be aware of the Plasma Sentries.
Death is what you shall face, for intelligence can surpass all brute strength.
Lord Vetus does not have any preemptive moves this phase, but will always reset the current combo initially. Lord Vetus still maintains his modes of attacks of Gun, Sword, Flying Sword, and Flying Gun. This means that every time Vetus swaps a weapon, a new combo is started. Remember that not every end of a combo, Vetus will swap his weapon, so keep an eye out for that, especially if he's grounded and has his gun equipped. Vetus is also known to stay in the air for an extended period of time in this phase due to this. In this phase, Vetus unlocks the infamous Air Snipe and another move that will not be named because its use is negligible. Air Snipe is a move where Vetus flips into the air and snipes you. It predicts movement and is indicated by a red crosshair. It will instantly kill and comes out extremely quick if not prepared for it. Air Snipe will always be used when Vetus swaps to his gun. From there, he will have a 50% chance to use it again. The air snipe dodge, which is the Q plus E tech, is mandatory from here on out. However, on a class like Mace, it should not be used. Instead, a much safer alternative was a side dash slightly towards Vetus, as seen here. The only time the usual air snipe dodge should be used is from far range, as seen here. The air snipe dodge is necessary for Vetus, as many of his combos in Phase 4 onwards has a far air snipe. A noticeable change in Phase 3 is that most moves now have prediction on them, which are Strike Through, Gallant Gambit, and Bleak Bullets. Strike Through's prediction can be baited, Gallant Gambit's prediction can be dodged with timed dashes, and Bleak Bullets requires a much different strategy. For Bleak Bullets, it is commonly used right after Strike a Throw. After Vetus initially strike a throws, dash away once while walking away from Vetus at an angle while constantly jumping. This will make you dodge some of the bullets by either moving out of their way or jumping over them. You can also dodge this move by strictly timed dashes, which should be necessary for classes that get one shot by them. For extra information on how to deal with Phase 3, I'll include text commentary on gameplay for it. You may skip this part if you're not interested in the hands-on learning.
To think I was so ungrateful with such power. No. Power is not something you merely receive. Power is what your true desire creates. You will be the first-hand witness then.
Wait. Before we begin the next 3 phases, I have to explain to you the combo system they use. Most of Lord Vetus's moves are now categorized into attack groups. Each group consists of attacks that are used based on the normal proximities, near and far. Here is the attack categories that contain each attack. In Vetus phases 4 to 6, he indicates his combos using elements. An element's combo is comprised of these attack groups rather than specific attacks. For example, a near dark and a far runic would be bleak bullets to a strike through. A near sentry and a near runic would be plasma sentry to a great fissure. Also, when an attack group appears more than once in a singular combo, example runic to runic, attacks will cycle between one another regardless of proximity. Only the first attack of each attack group is determined through proximity. For instance, if the first runic is far, it will use strike through. The second runic will cycle to the other near attack, which is Great Fissure, and the third runic will cycle back again to the far runic attack, which is Strike Through, and so on. Now that this has been explained, we can now get on to the elements that indicate his combo string. Hopefully, you know how to dodge each base move by themselves. The first combo Vetus uses here is Davidia, which is a combo that is Sentry to Runic to Snipe to Runic to Davidia. You'll notice that at the end of each element combo, it has a special attack, and each will be explained. For Davidia, the strategy I use is to let him use Plasma Sentry to Great Fissure, which is the first 2 that are Sentry to Runic. After Great Fissure, he will use Snipe. If I am near him, he will use Gallant Gambit. But if I am far, he will use Air Snipe. In this particular combo, you'll want to get away from him ASAP, because of the move Davidia that he uses at the end of the combo. After Great Fissure's backflip, I hastily get within close proximity, so he uses Gallant Gambit. After sufficient a gallant gambit dodge, I have to expect a strike through. After snipe, there is runic, and it will always be the next move in the cycle, which in this case is strike through. After baiting the prediction, I wait for the telegraphed Davidia's Fissure and jump over it, avoiding the entire attack. Davidia is a move that inflicts life doom, so avoiding it is your best course of action. Of course, not every element combo will go as smooth as this. There are environmental factors that can hinder it. So, stay calm and collected to dodge each string as needed. An alternative way to dodge Davidia is staying far enough to where he uses Great Fissure as the second runic, creating distance between you two. The next combo Vetus uses here is Asuna, indicated by a fire symbol. Asuna's combo includes snipe to global to sentry to Asuna. This is one of two combos that immediately start with an air snipe, so always be on the lookout for this. If he uses Asuna, try to stay in the center of the map during the combo. It will save your life. Asuna starts with snipe, which will always either be Gallant Gambit to air snipe if you're close, or air snipe to Gallant Gambit if you're far. If it is near, dodge the Gallant Gambit as needed. After, he will use an air snipe. Since it is from a far distance, you will need to air snipe dodge it as needed. If he is far, he will air snipe first, requiring a very panicky air snipe dodge. You'll also dodge Gallant Gambit as needed. Then he will use Global, which if you're far, he will use Gaia Shock, but if you're close, he will use Projectura. Next, he uses Sentry. If he started with Gallant Gambit, he will likely be close enough to you to use Plasma Sentry, which is extremely annoying for the special move he uses at the end of the string. If not, he will use Projectura. Asuna is when Vetus coats himself in an inferno and telegraphs a flame wall nearest to the player's spawn point or opposite of it. Shortly after, lava will flow in from the wall at accelerating speeds, covering at least 75% of the map. After this tide subsides, random pieces of lava debris will remain on the map for 30 seconds. To dodge this, stay in the center of the map while looking around you. When the flame flashes, run to the opposite side to avoid it safely. Vetus uses Graviga here, which is Skyward Force to Global to Dark, to Global to Graviga to Dive. This attack is easy enough as all of the moves are easily telegraphable. The globals will only consist of Prism Cannon or Gaia Shock, and the other Dark will only be Hadron Collision or Dark Eagle. For Graviga, Vetus summons 3 rocks for each player. To dodge this attack, dodge 3 times in one direction with timing. Then, he will rise every player into the air before striking and flying forward into each one of them. There will be a crosshair on you if he is targeting you. To dodge this, just dodge once after a delay when he targets you. After, he will use Dive. This is one of the easier combos he uses, and you should be praying he alternates with this every time. Vetus uses Libra here. Keep in mind that even with the Davidia terrain effects, you still need to find a way to him. Libra's combo string consists of Dark to Runic to Dark to Runic to Libra. Since I am far from Vetus here, he will use Hadron Collision, which is the far Dark. Since I am closing the distance, he will then use the near Runic, which is Great Fissure. Since both Dark and Runic appear twice, they will cycle to the far near version of Dark and Runic regardless of distance. I expected a Bleak Bullets and a Strike Through here. After dodging all 4 attacks, Vetus will use Libra. Libra is a star-shaped attack that has to be dashed and jumped over to avoid. To dodge, just dash and jump. Getting hit will mean certain death, as it will take all of your energy and place your abilities on cooldown. This is also one of the easier combo strings he uses. In Phase 5, Vetus unlocks two new combos, Astrum and Vastitas. Here, Vetus uses Astrum, which is Runic to Skyward Force to Sentry to Dark to Global to Astrum to Dive. For the first Runic, dodge it how you normally would. When Vetus uses Skyward Force, you should zoom out and look for the falling comets. These comets may bundle up and kill you, but are weak by themselves, as they only deal 40 damage. Dodge the Dark and Global as you normally would, then when Vetus uses Astrum, indicated by a noise, get away from him. He will drop more comets that deal more damage, and when he uses it, a much larger comet will be dropped on him. Dodge everything, as you would in a bullet hell. Vetus uses Vastitas here, and one of his most lethal combos in a server with people in it. Vastitas' combo, Strong, consists of Snipe to Global to Runic to Snipe to Vastitas. Since this is another combo that can potentially start with Air Snipe, you'd want to be ready if you are far away from Vetus. Here in this clip, I am near him, which means he will start with Gallant Gambit. Can you guess what he will use next? Yep, Gaia Shock. Since I am far, it will be Strike Through. Since attack groups alternate if used twice, the next move is Great Fissure. Do you see where this is going? Since he used Gallant initially, the attack after Great Fissure is an Air Snipe into another Gallant Gambit. Remember to not get hit, as the Petrify passive will kill you for certain. After, Vetus uses Vastitas, where he stabs the ground and telegraphed rocks will arise from the ground. Vetus then releases energy from the epicenter as it continuously releases shock waves that knock back hit players. You can jump over the shock wave, and that's every combo until Phase 6. Vetus's time in between combos becomes much shorter, and he unlocks the Ultima combo, which consists of Global to Snipe, to Dark, to Runic, to Sentry, to Davidia, to Astrum, to Asuna, to Libra, to Skyward Force, to Graviga, to Dive, to Vastitas, to Ultima to Dive. The main thing here is the Snipe. You'd want to make Vetus use Gallant Gambit so you can create distance between you so you are unaffected by Davidia. After, he should use Hadron Collision to strike through. You should use a lot of dashes to dodge this because you get a breath of air after. Then, go to the center of the map and avoid Asuna and Libra at the same time. After, he uses Graviga to give you a little break. Uh-oh. Looks like my game broke. We are gonna use another video. This one is by Existence. Then, he uses Vastitas. The important thing here is that after Vastitas, he uses a pull. You must not move at all to not get hit by the pull. After, create some distance between you as he dashes, and if this dash lands, you will burn to death. After, he uses Ultima. During all this, you should try and position Vetus towards the center of the map. When he does use Ultima, he will always face towards the center of the map. What you want to do then is jump over the ripples as they will petrify you, decreasing your chances of escaping. Find the corner that is farthest away from Ultima. Hopefully, you baited Ultima into a different direction in the center, towards where you want to hide from it. After that, he will use dive. Do not die to dive. Congratulations. If you did all of this correctly, you should have dodged Ultima. Hope and pray he doesn't use it again until his last resort Ultima, which is at 1 AP. Remember that Ultima will always face towards the center. You did it. You beat Lord Vetus. Soloed him in fact. The progress you made was astounding. You must have took dozens of tries to do it. This is unprecedented.
Nobody to the